In this episode, we'll talk about how to build a perfect roadmap for data and AI governance. What is a perfect roadmap for data and AI governance?
We've talked in other videos about the importance of aligning both data and AI governance to business initiatives. We want to be careful about the business initiative that we choose. Then we want to think of the specific applications. So this is where we determine within those larger programs, what are the very specific applications that are going to be built to specific use cases. So a business use case might be helping to do claims adjustments, right? Like a claims adjuster assistant application, something like that. Then we want to think about data. So the third work stream will be data. So what data is going to be needed to support the targeted application within the targeted business initiative? So you're going to need, obviously, for this example, you need claims data. So when we're talking about claims data, which is highly reusable within an insurance company, then I really want to position that data to be reusable. Then we want to go down into data management. So here is where we're going to think about what is it about the condition of that data that we need to do something about. So maybe there are certain data quality issues. So maybe for claims information, when we bring in information from the customer directly about claims, maybe all the information in those forms are not filled completely to our needs, especially, for example, if we're building a new generative AI enabled claims advisor application. There are going to be certain text fields within the claims that are going to be even more important to get correct. So for the data management piece, we want to list out specifically what are the issues that need to be resolved and what data management capabilities are we going to implement just in time to support the data in support of applications and on up the chain. Then we want to talk about the architecture. So always a good idea to have a vision of where the overall architecture is going, but it's also important to build it a piece at a time in support of your targeted use cases. So the idea would be maybe you have an element of data lake, data warehouse, and so on. Maybe you have data ingestion processes. Maybe we're doing certain data ingestion processes that involve vectorization of unstructured data for our specific use case. So those would be elements of the architecture that would either need to be in place already or you build them as part of your roadmap, just in time, just enough for the needs of the targeted application. Then we talk about security. Now with AI, it's not just security, it's compliance, it's ethics, it's responsibility. So you want to make sure you have a work stream specifically devoted to those aspects of the program. Then the next work stream is the operating model. So here we're not talking about the business operating model. That really goes in the application track, all right, and then the business initiative track. So here we're talking about business participation in data and AI governance and the IT and business partnership to make that work. I've worked with customers who have often attempted to build out, for example, a data governance program or AI governance program, and they've done it in a manner where they're standing up the program in and of itself for its own benefit and its own value, and they'll do a charter and they'll start the program and they'll, but it ends up getting a little bit, it has a lack of momentum. The reason is because it's not targeting very specific business needs. The key is to have all of these work streams in place, but cascade all of the specific needs from the targeted applications so that all of the other actions that we take and all of the other work streams can point directly to the success of the targeted application, even as we are building those capabilities in a reusable manner along the way.
What I'm hearing is there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. The right way is to follow the process, to follow the framework that you just laid out. Are there any common pitfalls that you see that organizations need to avoid?
Yeah, in fact, I'll put it into two broad categories, right? So let's talk about where companies go wrong, where they go wrong. It can seem like a very, very subtle difference between the right way and the wrong way. So for example, we went through these 7 work streams and we talked about data and making data its own work stream. One strategic mistake that's incredibly common is taking that data work stream and burying it inside the application projects. Right? Why is this a problem? It's a problem because if I am deploying highly reusable data, but I'm putting it in the context of only one individual use case, then that use case may be successful, but I'm going to structure that data for the use of that application alone. However, there's also what companies do when they're trying to correct that problem, because when they do that and they push data into applications, what you end up with is data proliferation.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever a company sees that that's a problem, almost always, and I mean almost always, they will overcorrect and begin making strategic mistake number 2. And that is building a foundation of data and associated capabilities disengaged from the very specific targeted initiatives. So what they will do is, we want claims data to be available for everybody. So let's do a project called a claims data lake. Now what happens is, it seems like a good idea, but how do you prioritize the specific elements of the claim? How do you prioritize which data quality issues need to be dealt with first, second, and third? And they have a lot of difficulty getting engagement from the folks that it's intended to serve, right? So to me, those games are won or lost right at the beginning.
And that's why building the right roadmap that you want to make sure that you have the right initiatives, you have the right use cases, you have the right tools to do that is really critical.
It's essential. You cannot do it one solution at a time.
These are great insights. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Abbas.
Great. Today we discussed how to build a roadmap for data and AI governance. Now let's make it real. In the next episode, we'll talk about how do you actually implement that roadmap.